Well, Colman, congratulations on this movie and everything, just being you. But I do want to start off by asking, what is something you wish you knew more about Bayard Rustin after doing this film, after being immersed in his life?
Oh, wow, that's great. I wish I knew more. It's funny, the first place I went to is, I wish I knew more about more of his friendships. You know, I know a lot of his work relationships, you know, in many ways, but I feel like I wanted to know more of the nuances of other friendships with other men, other women, you know what I mean, his long-term friendships and everything. I think I love all that personal stuff about people. You know, I started to understand, I knew what he loved. Like, he loves, from his travels, he loved clothes, and he'd pick up walking sticks and things like that. I love all the personal things, and so if I want to know more of is the personal, and like personal connections.
Yeah, I mean, I asked George the same thing, and he told me something that he just learned about when he would be in football and he would tackle someone.
Oh yeah,
and he would help them up
and say a poem.
That's wild.
That's an original man.
That is just crazy, and it shows so much about his character, right? I also want to ask you, what would it have been like for you, for young Colman, to see a movie like Rustin back in the day? What would it have been like for you to see something like this?
I think you'd be able to give, wow, that's a great question. The idea for a man like this to exist as a central figure in a film would be incredible. I feel like it would answer a lot of questions about yourself, or like what is your place in the world, or what's available to you in some way. I think, because I think that a lot of times, even in our own communities, I think that sometimes we only see sort of, how can I say it, tropes of our humanity, and they're all dissonant. They're not really into a full-fledged human being. You see sound bites or quick clips of people, but the idea of seeing the amalgamation of a real complex human being that is messy and funny and weird and interesting and intelligent and sexual all at once, I think that would totally blow my mind. I would say as a young teenager or something, oh, I have someone to look to in some way, you know, which is, instead of trying to figure this out on my own without representation and images, that I come from the generation where we lost a large generation right above me, so I had to find myself in different ways and figure that out. So I feel like it would have been a great North Star.
And then finally, how do you hope the movie Rustin helps further this movement for the queer community? We're in this moment where it's just kind of tough, but we always power through, right? But how do you hope Rustin contributes to this movement that we're in, specifically for queer people of color?
I think it says to hang on and get involved, and don't yield, don't lay down, look after each other. We know we've always been under attack, you know, and with as many advancements as we have, there's always someone that wants to set us back. And when we just keep saying we're not going anywhere, and we want to keep going and coming stronger, and we want to keep educating, and we're going to keep saying who we are, and supporting each other in spaces. We put our money where our mouth is. We take care of each other. Because we have to take care of each other. Our society in many ways has sort of, because as things has become more commercialized in some way, it's sort of like we didn't know if we're really together anymore, but we're like, no, we must band together and take care of each other. I think that's the spirit of Rustin.
Well, George, congratulations on the film, and thank you for being here. I think one of the things I just really want to start with is, out of making this film, what is something you wish you knew more about Bayard Rustin?
What is one thing I wish I knew more about Bayard Rustin? I don't know. I know a lot, and I keep discovering. You know, the film is completed. I keep discovering things. One of the things I recently discovered was that he's from Westchester, Pennsylvania, which I knew, but he went to He was a star athlete, and that when in football he was an offensive lineman, and that when he would tackle his opponent, he would help them stand back up and recite a line of poetry to them.
Yeah, and you just recently learned?
I just recently learned it. I mean, so it's just things like that.
It just keeps on unraveling and flourishing.
And more remarkable. It just filled with such remarkable. I met someone who was his doctor, and evidently he was in upstate New York. I didn't meet his doctor. I met someone who was related to the doctor who cared for him when he had a heart attack in upstate New York. So just these people, now that the film is out and people are coming up to me and sharing things.
And I saw it at TIFF, and I'm just excited to see it flourish even more beyond that. But how Rustin is coming out at a time when queer people story never changes, right? But how do you hope Rustin, the movie, the film, helps further this movement towards equity, specifically for queer people of color?
Well, I think one of the things that I deeply admire about Bayard is that he was a walking embodiment of it needn't look like you to be about you, and the sense that it's very important for groups to form their identity and to gain strength from each other, but it's also very important that they connect to other people and invite other people into their journeys, into their battles, into their wars. And that's what I really admire about him, that with this March on Washington in 1963, the whole country, not all the country, but people from all over came and made this cause their own. And I think that in addition to empowering ourselves, forming coalitions, forming as many different kinds of coalitions, so that therefore there are allies everywhere, and so that therefore the cause of one group's oppression is your own, and that I think he's a living embodiment of that.